What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lockdown Coverage. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Daniel. On today's episode, I'm going to be doing strictly fantasy football. I'm going to be covering my top 15 players going into the 2020 season, and this is again points per reception. So I'm going to be including wide receivers and running backs because those are your primary positions that usually go in the top round or two. So I'm going to start off the ranking with my 15th overall player, and at number 15, I have Deandre Hopkins. Might surprise some of you guys, Deandre was a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy last year, but because he got traded to Arizona, and there's other key playmakers in Arizona like Kenyon Drake, like Christian Kirk, like Larry Fitzgerald, there's enough receptions to go around, so I think his productivity could go down a little bit, but I think he still will be that wide receiver one. He'll be a fringe wide receiver one in my opinion. He won't do as well as he did when he had no one to help him out in Houston, and Deshaun Watson was throwing the ball to him 15 times a game. That is why I have D-Hop at 15. At number 14 on this list, I have a surprise player, Adam Eckler. And if you guys haven't done any mock drafts recently, Adam Eckler is your key running back for PPR. If he doesn't get receptions, he's not even a top 20 back in my opinion, but because there's probably going to be so much dinking and dunking because the Chargers offensive line is so horrendous this year, in my opinion, I think Adam Eckler will feast just like how he did last year with Phillip Rivers, and that is what made him such a good running back while Melvin Gordon held out. It let him showcase his ability, and he used that time and those snaps to his benefit. He got a long-term extension with the Chargers. I love Adam Eckler this year, especially in PPR standard ranking leagues. At number 13 on this list, I have Tyreek Hill, fastest guy in the NFL, the cheetah. I think Tyreek Hill could have another explosive year with Patrick Mahomes. They have everyone returning basically on that offense. Mecole Hardman could take another step and draw more coverage towards him, so people can't really double up Tyreek Hill because he's so fast. Tyreek usually make most of his plays with long receptions and of course touchdowns and jet sweeps. He does everything for that Chiefs offense. He's Patrick Mahomes' favorite playmaker, and Patrick Mahomes is probably going to throw the most yards out of any quarterback, so Tyreek should benefit from that. That is why I have him on my top 15. At number 12, I have Julio Jones. Julio Jones in that Atlanta offense. Again, you want established players that have already had 1 year under their belts because all the uncertainty that throughout this offseason and training camp, players might not be able to establish themselves as rookies or even coming from a new team to try to learn the offense. It makes sense that you get players that are on good offenses and that have been there for a while so they don't have to learn any new scheme. Julio Jones has put up over 1,200 yards or 1,300 yards, I'm pretty sure, in the last 5 seasons. Yes, his touchdowns are lacking. That is why he's not my number one wide receiver, because if he did score 8 to 12 touchdowns a year, he would consistently be your number one target because Matt Ryan throws the ball so much, because that Atlanta offense didn't really have a running game last year. He still is super productive. I anticipate him and even Calvin Ridley to benefit from that. Austin Hooper, their tight end, did go to Cleveland, so there's less targets there in Atlanta for Julio and probably Calvin Ridley to eat up. I think Julio will have a great year as long as he stays healthy like he has in the past. At number 11 on this list, I have Davante Adams, and a few of you might think that Julio should be in front of Adams, but Adams, of course, is a receiving nightmare because Green Bay uses him in a way that he could have 120 catches a year. He just doesn't stay healthy. If he did stay healthy, he would be your number one receiver as well. He reminds me of Michael Thomas. If Michael Thomas didn't have 140 catches, Davante Adams would be one of your top wide receivers, especially last year when he was healthy. He performed. He was Aaron Rodgers' favorite weapon and probably only weapon. If you guys can name me Aaron Rodgers' second option that isn't Aaron Jones, you guys can't, right? You guys can't even name me Aaron Rodgers' second option. Okay, so that's my point. Davante Adams is a great wide receiver, and he's Aaron Rodgers' only option. Aaron Rodgers isn't a shitty QB. He just hasn't been throwing the ball or had that great an offense to surround himself with in the past few years. So it makes sense for him to be this high on this list. At number 10 on my list, I have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, the guy that had the craziest second half of the season I've ever seen in fantasy football history. He rushed for over 150 yards a game throughout the second half. So that kind of maybe won you your league if you had him. Again, he didn't go that early, and he's not higher on this list because he doesn't get that many receptions. He's more of a 25 carry guy. If he stays healthy, he'll put up over 100 yards rushing. You're going to be dependent on his touchdowns. He's not going to take 5-6 receptions a game, or you take a screen to the house and have an 80-yard reception. That's not going to happen with Derrick Henry. That's very seldom. I don't think that Derrick Henry could put up the same season he did last year because people are going to be keen in on him. Anticipate probably like an AJ Brown for that Titans offense to do better this year because the running game is going to be so contested and there's going to be so many people in the box, and defenses want Ryan Tannehill to show that he can prove that last year wasn't a fluke. And honestly, I might think it is. So I'm kind of skeptical about Derrick Henry. So we'll see. That's why I have him 10th on this list and not higher. At number 9, I have Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had a crazy year last year. He's the receiving back that you want as long as he stays healthy. I think he has a few durability concerns, but I think that Miles Sanders is a top 5 running back if he stays healthy. I think he can rush for over 1,000 yards and have over 500 yards receiving and probably 50 or 60 receptions, which is great. He didn't have that many touchdowns last year. Anticipate that to go up as well. At number 8, I have Aaron Jones. Again, Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones are Aaron Rodgers' only playmakers, and of course Aaron Jones as well also gets receptions out of the backfield. That is why I have him high. Even though the Packers took AJ from Boston College, he is mainly a runner, a bruiser, a ground and pound guy. So I don't think you can take away receptions from Aaron Jones. That is why I have Aaron Jones still in my top 10 for rankings and probably my top 5 for running backs. At number 7, this might be a surprise to you guys. Again, if you haven't done mocks, go do a mock. It'll help you out and strategize. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie from LSU that the Chiefs got in the first round. I think he could blow up this year. The Chiefs, again, who can you name as their backup running back? I'll wait. No one, right? You guys can't name anyone? Damian Williams opted out. They have no second option. I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire will eat. He will feast in this Chiefs offense. The Chiefs have the best offense in the league. Other than Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, he will as well be another option because he could get so many receptions. He was the only college player ever to have 1,000 yards rushing and have over 500 yards and 50 receptions in college ever. So he is amazing as a receiving back just in college. He's a little muscle hamster. I don't know if he's going to carry the ball 20 times a game. He'll maybe carry it 13, 14 times, but anticipate 6 or 7 or 8 receptions a game. I'm not kidding. I think he'll be that good in year 1. At number 6 on this list, I have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was a stud last year, did miss the fantasy football playoffs, so it might have cost a few of you guys some games if you had Dalvin Cook on your roster, but he stayed healthy for majority of the year. I know the playoffs is probably the most important, but he put up over 20 fantasy points a game, averaging 20.6. Dalvin Cook is a threat as a receiver and a runner. He has that explosive speed to break away for 75-yard runs. He did that a few times last year. He showed why the Vikings originally drafted him in the second round. I think if he stays healthy, he will be a top 3 back this year. Health is a big concern for him, in my opinion, though. I don't think he could do it, honestly. At number 5, I have Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, again, did not stay healthy last year. Health, it's a lot of big things for these running backs. They carry the ball and touch the ball a lot. That means you're going to get tackled and have your severity for injury increase higher and higher the more touches you get per game. But Alvin Kamara is a stud as well. His rookie and second year, phenomenal. Last year, did not stay healthy, did not put up the production everyone anticipated him to do so as the Saints featured back. They still have Latavius Murray, so I think he will take some touches from Kamara, but we'll see what happens. I have Alvin Kamara so high on this list because he's just such a stud and he makes people miss. That is his number 1 attribute. I think he does that probably better than anyone else in the NFL other than Saquon Barkley. But at number 4 on this list, I have another New Orleans Saints member, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas put up a record year last year. I'm not going to talk much about it because he's such a stud. 1,700 yards, 140 receptions, 8+ touchdowns. I don't really remember how many touchdowns he had, but if Michael Thomas can even resemble the type of season he had last year, he will be valuable as a number 3 overall pick in fantasy football. I'm gonna stop talking about it. He did amazing last year. At number 3, I have Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke, I think I anticipate more upside for him this year than last year. The Cowboys had a lot of issues and a lot of concerns. They drafted CeeDee Lamb, so their wide receivers and their offensive line is still intact and still really good. So I think it will open up things for Zeke. Zeke also gets receptions out of the backfield, so that is important in PPR. At number 2 and at number 1, I have Saquon Barkley at number 2 and Christian McCaffrey, of course, at number 1. I have Saquon at number 2 because that Giants offensive line is still not proven to do so well under Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones turned the ball over a lot last year. He had 8 fumbles. Not all of it is because of the offensive line, but some of it is. I think Saquon Barkley missed time as well last year, and he had over 1,000 yards rushing, which is still phenomenal. That's actually crazy if you think about it. He missed 4 games, was supposed to miss about 8 games with his injury, but he ended up coming back and still didn't have a bulk of carries when he did come back and put up 1,000 yards. I think he will put up 1,300 yards and 60 plus receptions if he plays 16 games. That's just my opinion on Saquon. And then Christian McCaffrey, what can I say about Christian McCaffrey? He averaged 30 fantasy points in PPR leagues last year. Averaged. So that means he had about 8 catches a game, 7 catches a game. He had over 100 receptions last year. Christian McCaffrey is a stud. He is your viable number 1 overall pick. If you can't even consider Saquon, in my opinion, because they still have Teddy Bridgewater, a good quarterback, or a decent quarterback if you guys aren't high on Teddy. I think that he could still put up numbers in the backfield and get receptions and honestly run the ball, so where he has 1,200 yards and 10 plus touchdowns. So I think Christian McCaffrey is your number 1 fantasy player this year. That is my top 15 rankings. If you guys disagree on anything, let me know in the comments below. But guys, if you like this video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If this video does well, I will continue my fantasy football segment because I love fantasy and I'm in it every year for the past, 8 years. I would love to continue this segment. So make sure you guys view this video up and give me some likes and I'll continue this segment. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.